afternoon, everyone.
Welcome back to the Fika Brunch and Business Podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Evo, it's okay. You don't need to sit right up in your mic's grill.
Well, I don't know, because last time Rowan told me that I need to be really close to it.
You're so annoying.
Yeah, sorry.
Can I just say, before we begin, that we've leveled up?
Yeah, we have.
We've sacked off the tap water. We've realised...
Well, we still got tap water. It's important to be hydrated.
Hydration is key.
Yeah.
But we've also realised that we were really boring otherwise, just sipping away on
It's
our
about
tap water.
balance.
Yeah. So we've gone for a little summer drink of choice, an Aperol Spritz, even though it's not even summer anymore. But
Yeah.
we move.
Can I just say I don't rate the way Tia makes an Aperol Spritz. I think she's got too much Aperol.
Look at the colour difference between that, mine and yours. That's the proper Aperol. And yours is just like, you might as well be drinking a J2O, babes.
I think the right recipe is 1 part Aperol,
Oh, here we go.
3
Massive segue.
parts Prosecco, and a dash of soda. Please let us know in the comments what you think.
I think it's 3 Prosecco, 2 Aperol, 1 soda. In those ratios. Any Italians don't come for us. It's okay. Us Bulgarians don't know much about Aperol.
No, we don't.
We only know about 2 litre plastic bottle of beer. Anyways.
On the next episode, we'll have a 2 litre plastic bottle of beer. Anyway,
We'll
carry
bring
on.
it down in class. How are you feeling this week, Ebo?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a little update. Come on, you got to start the podcast with an update.
An update.
How's your week been? Just like...
Well, it's been 2 weeks, hasn't it, since the last one?
It has.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it 2 weeks since we went to Stewart's? No.
No. Or maybe just because we recorded it. Maybe we recorded it slightly later.
That was last
that
week because we're going to post that this week. It all makes
So
sense.
it has been a week.
Yeah.
I was going to say they've come around pretty quickly. What have I been up to?
Watching a lot of TikTok.
Yeah, no, I deleted TikTok.
Wow. Why have you done
I
that?
don't know if you knew that.
Tell the fans.
I was spending a lot of time on it. Too much time.
So,
Like,
for your productivity? Or just because, like,
It
you
just-
feel like a bum?
yeah.
I feel like
more
I got to a
the
point,
second.
not recently, this was maybe like towards the end of the first lockdown, where I was like, if I spend another 5 minutes on TikTok,
Yeah.
I am going to hate myself. And I always did. I always spent like another 3 hours on TikTok. But it's not even
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to go and do this instead. It's more just like, what's wrong with me?
Do you know what it is?
Surely this is not a good use of my time.
I think it is great entertainment.
Yes.
However,
You can learn to moderate.
what I realise is that I don't know when to stop. And there is a point where I know I'm not enjoying this anymore. I don't find it funny. I've been here for 2 hours. Like, I need to stop, but then I just don't, because then I'm like, oh, what else am I going to do? I might as well just carry on. And it was getting to that point too often. So I was just like, you know what? I don't need to, like, I can just delete it.
Don't you think that's crazy? That there is something so addictive just like on your phone that you literally have to like bribe yourself. You have to like give yourself a reward for walking away from. That's so bad. What's wrong
But
with
is it
us?
any different to like sitting in front of the TV for 4 hours?
No. Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I would never do that ever.
No.
That you will never catch me.
Because you don't have the attention span to sit in front of the TV.
That's true. Although I have got back into The Crown. Very topical.
Oh, really?
R.I.P. to the Queen.
R.I.P.
But yeah, I've got back into that, and they're hour-long episodes. So
I'm impressed.
I can only do about half of one per week, and by the time I watch the other half, I've forgotten what's happened.
And while you're watching that half, you're also on TikTok on your phone.
Yes, but you know we move. Anyways, back to your week.
Back to my week. Yeah, so I've deleted TikTok. That actually didn't happen this week. That happened before. So what I do now instead of that is I just go on Instagram Reels.
And just sees everything 3 weeks later.
And I see everything. But the good thing about Instagram Reels is it is a lot worse than TikTok and a lot less funny.
So true.
And so a lot less addictive. So after
true.
like half an hour, I'm already bored. And so I've only spent half an hour on it.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Swap it out for something shitter. You don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's quite a good. That must be quite a good way to deal with like anything you can't let go of.
Yeah.
So like if you're like, oh, see, but it wouldn't work, would it? Like if you're obsessed with like McDonald's fries, just make like sweet potato chips at home, and then after a day you'll be like, nah,
Yeah,
over
no,
it. We just go back to McDonald's. Anyways, what else? Anything?
What else?
Have you been anywhere? Have you?
I don't think so. Have I?
I don't think you have.
No, I've not done anything enormous
No.
over the past.
You've got a half marathon
weeks.
coming up, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
I'll put it out there in the open now.
I've got a half marathon
If you
coming up.
don't succeed,
It's
if
not.
you don't cross that finish line,
It's not looking good.
it's not looking good.
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
Why? I felt like you were really into your running at one point.
I was so into it
You were like
because
making everyone else at Pika feel terrible about themselves because you're like, yeah, I woke up at 3 this morning, went on a 9-mile
woke
run,
up at 3.
then had my physio, then went for a PT, and we were all like, yeah, right.
yeah, I was just to start with. I feel Sophie was the one that got me into it,
Yeah.
and I think we were both very on it at the start, and we're both on Strava, so we were both like tracking each other's runs.
We got a bit competitive
And
with each other.
There's
didn't
like
we?
a little bit of
Healthy bit of competition.
friendly competition. And I don't know. I did do a good few like long runs, and I definitely surprised myself how much I can run. But then I think there was a few weeks where I stopped just to like recover a little bit, and I found it very difficult to get back into it. Now, even
I've
when-
always found running is a bit like that.
yeah. Now, even if I did.
Oh,
Oh, sorry if I put it in
Evo.
silent. It's big.
That is outrageous
I thought I put it in silent.
behaviour.
Apologies.
Clearly doesn't want to be here, guys. It's fine. We're not taking it personally.
No, don't take it personally. I went for like quite a long run,
Yeah.
15k. Put that out there. Weird
Shameless
flex,
plug.
weird flex, but okay. and I did okay on it, and then but ever since then, that's when I took like 2 weeks off, and ever since then, like even doing a 5k is very difficult.
Do you
now.
think you're just in your own head about it though? It must be,
Maybe.
because I feel like if you can do a 15k 2 weeks ago, you can still do a 15k now, even if you've done nothing in between. I don't think your body loses fitness and like
Probably.
stamina.
I don't think it's so much fitness. I feel like
just motivation, mental.
things just hurt a lot more for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I just need to go slower. Don't know. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to find out whether Evo
Also,
crosses that finish line.
it's in like 10 days.
Yeah, need to crack on.
Yeah, I
But you
think.
can't really do much more training now.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Lay back.
One way or another, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Whether it takes me.
You may just not enjoy it a huge amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned to find
Okay,
out whether
I'll get it
Eva
done.
will be signing up for the London Marathon next year. Would
I
you
might
ever
do.
do a marathon?
I feel like a half marathon to a marathon is a big step.
It
and
is.
I don't think I enjoy running enough
Yeah.
to be able to make that step.
Yeah, I agree
So
with that.
probably not.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's more or less
Your
me.
week.
What about you?
My week, or however long it's been since we recorded, has been good. Not a lot to report, really. It's been
Yeah.
good. I feel like I've actually enjoyed the last couple of weeks. Well, last week I feel like I was quite busy.
Yeah.
Paulina was on holiday, so doing all the stuff in the morning, all the baking stuff in the morning and everything like that. And also had quite a few shifts in the cafe. So last week felt quite busy.
Yeah. You did look like you had a busy week. last
Yeah.
week.
But I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed being... Do you know what? I feel like I've lived my best life a little bit too much over summer. And I've enjoyed being a bit more focused on work now. And I currently have like 2 social plans to look forward to in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 6 months ago, I would have been like, that's so depressing. But now I'm like, I'm actually quite happy about that. Because I feel like summer was like a lot of socializing, a lot of money spending.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to a quiet, quaint couple of months of just nursing my bank balance back to a good place and nursing my liver back to a good place with the
nice.
Aperol. And just like, I love my house and I've loved being at home a little bit more. I miss being at home a lot over summer. Like I love evenings at home. Like I said, watching The Crown, making dinner at home. I don't really cook, so that's not true. But, yeah. So my week's been good, pretty chill. This week's been pretty chill so far. Not a lot to report, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
let's get into the main topic of conversation.
Yeah, now that the update, it has to be an update, obligatory update at the start of the episode. I wanted to talk a little bit. This thought popped into my head the other day. I was driving and I started thinking about how my relationships have changed since owning a business in my scenario, but I imagine with a lot of people it will be since like going into full-time work and I suppose like it's I'm unlike a lot of people in that most people don't go from the age I was straight out of school working full-time and then owning a business. Like that's not probably the standard trajectory for most people. But I feel like my relationships have really changed and like owning a business and just, I wouldn't even say it's about owning a business. It's more just like working full time and being busy with what you do has changed all of my relationships. Because when I said this to you, you were like, oh, what, like your romantic relationship? And I was like, no, like all of your relationships. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah. So why don't you start us off with what you were thinking about?
Well, I was just thinking,
went on this thought.
Like, firstly, I definitely have fewer friends, and I don't say that in like a.
So they don't like you anymore.
Probably, I don't say that in a. Oh, woe is me. I've got so few friends. I say it in like, I honestly don't socialise that much. I don't feel like I have the time to socialise that much. Like, even if I do socialise, I'm not the kind of person, I don't really like, if I'm working during the day and busy during the day, I don't really like doing something every evening with like a group of
Rewind
friends.
A little bit. You've just told the fans that you've had a very busy summer.
Yeah, and I loved it. But I've also just said that I'm loving like being at home a little bit more. Okay. I feel like I can do it for a short period of time. Okay. And then I'm just like, socially drained. I'm then just like in social circumstances. I'm like, I have nothing to give to this conversation because I'm talked out. We're done. So I feel like I definitely have fewer friends, and I think that's also because when you do have a full-time job and when you are busy day to day, the free time that you have, you start spending more wisely. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
I think it's like people that work 2 days a week have a lot more free time. Yeah. Obviously, like people that work 2 days a week and don't have kids, whatever, have a lot more free time, and they probably can just like waste a day and it not really. Whereas I feel like with my free time, I don't just want to. And this goes back to the whole thing about TikTok. Like I don't just want to sit there and scroll on TikTok for 3 hours because then I'm like, I could have had a really nice evening. I could have like made something really nice for dinner, spent some quality time with my boyfriend, like gone for a nice walk, all in that time that I've just sat here in this one spot. So I'd say that's like with my friendship. But I've like the friends that I have now, I feel like are definitely like closer friends and people that I would willingly choose to spend my free time with. Yeah. And I don't really have any friendship relationships that I'm like, oh, I find them a bit draining. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like family relationships, it's probably not changed that much. Maybe a little bit at the start. Well, no, okay, that's not true. No,
I guess it must have changed because now you work with 2 whole members of your family.
Yeah, whole as opposed to half members of my family. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of listeners might not know this.
They might not.
That Paulina, who we refer to quite often, who was a big part of the FICA operation, is also our mum. Yeah. Shout out.
And what does she do for those who don't know who Paulina
is? She's part of the baking team. Paulina,
a very big part
of the baking team, and this is really funny because Paulina has never tried her hand at baking. 6 months ago, probably never made a cake in her life, and turns out she's actually a really good baker. Yeah. Makes a banging croissant, banging cinnamon buns. So she does every morning. She does the bakery output for the cafes of the day. So she bakes cinnamon buns in the morning, bakes croissants in the morning. So like everything's fresh, and decorates all the cakes and stuff for the cafes. And she's also our, what would you say, like our admin department, all by herself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So she's a big part. So she obviously, when did she start working with us? Probably about a year ago now. Maybe about 10 months ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, I think of November last year.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
I thought it was shorter than that. But...
I think it was November last year. So, and she started
when you started working, was Pauline already working?
She was, yeah.
Yeah, so it must have been around November.
Yeah. So, obviously that relationship went from being like just mother and siblings to mother, siblings, employer, employee kind of thing. And I feel like it's definitely changed somewhat, but also in other ways, like it hasn't really. I think the one thing we all struggle with now is like, if we do go for dinner together, not for like a work dinner, like for like dinner, like the other day when we went out for dinner for her birthday.
Yeah.
We have to like stop ourselves from talking about work the whole time, because otherwise we will just sit there for 3 hours and talk about work.
Yeah.
And like every customer, and not like in a bitchy way, but like we'll discuss everything about that day, which is not needed. So that's changed that. I wouldn't say it's really changed it with any other family members. Would you? Maybe it has actually. Maybe sometimes I feel like maybe they respect us a little bit more. Put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my name. I'm from the hood, guys.
I've no words.
That's so tragic. I'm sorry.
Rowan's shaking his head. No, what's going on? I want to go home.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, I think maybe they do respect what we're doing a little bit more. I think because of where we're at, because of where we're from.
Yeah.
I think, let's hear this dynamic from your side, because I think you probably see it as well now. Like what they used to think we were doing versus like now what they think.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to make, actually. And I'd take it even as far back as when you decided not to go to university.
Yeah.
In Bulgaria, education is a big thing. And especially like further education is a big thing.
Yeah.
So sorry, there's a lot of commotion going on outside.
So great people watching podcast studio.
I know.
Do you know what the highlight is for me?
Go on.
All the good dogs that walk past. All the good lads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Although some man is currently being pulled up into a police car. So not as wholesome today.
But we move. It's all entertaining.
Anyway. In Bulgaria, education is a big thing. I feel like it's
a big privilege.
It definitely is in the UK. Yeah, it's definitely a big privilege. It is in the UK as well, but I think in the UK we're at this juncture where people are starting to see that education doesn't just come from like going to university.
That there are other avenues,
and there's more like things like apprenticeships.
Yes,
and I think more like the kind of thing that we've done, or more that you've done, which is like going straight into work from school, is becoming more and more valued. Yeah, and I think will only increase in that way. I think Bulgaria is not quite like that yet. No. I think there it's like you go to uni or you're a failure almost. Yeah,
but also I do think it has a lot to do with the that it is such a privilege, and that because a lot of obviously our family grew up in some of them lived in a communist society, and some of them grew up in a post-communist society. Yeah. Where it wasn't normal to just be able to travel wherever you want and do whatever you want and buy whatever you want in the supermarket and go to whatever school or university you want. It was a huge privilege and achievement to go to school or go to university in England. That's seen as like almost like the holy grail in Bulgaria, isn't it? And that's something to us that's quite normal.
Yeah.
So
because we've lived that life, but a lot of people in Bulgaria don't.
They can't even imagine that.
No.
So I think that's where it comes from. Like, I think my family almost just my family.
Your family, not mine.
Not yours.
Mine would never say that.
I think our family really, they almost felt like it was such a shame and such a waste that I had this opportunity and didn't take it.
Yeah.
I think that's how they viewed it.
You didn't even tell some people for a long time.
Oh,
because you were like, I just know how they're going to react, and
I was right.
and you were right. And you just didn't want the smoke.
No. So, yeah. So I think because of that.
We're closed.
Sorry about the phone ringing in the background. It's not Evo this time.
It's not me. Oh, that stopped quite nicely. Nice.
Because of that, I feel like I've lost my train of thought a little bit. Because of that. Yeah, so because I took the rogue route and the route that they didn't really see as big of an opportunity and as big of a privilege and as big of an achievement, they were like, well, she's out. Sack her off. Disown her.
It's worth noting that Tia was not actually disowned.
This
is a dramatisation of events.
My life is so hard. My family don't love me.
It's like going on those people that go on podcasts and like, I was disowned by my family. My whole family didn't believe in me.
They kicked me out the house at age 32. Anyways, no, they didn't actually disown me, but they didn't visibly
understand.
disappointed.
They were like, why would you possibly?
And they didn't approve. I think it's fair enough to like. They didn't. I wouldn't say they let it affect our relationship, but they didn't approve. Sorry. Do you know what? So many things have happened in this podcast so far. And we've just kept a straight face through all of it.
Keep rolling. There's going to be a lot of editing. Won't quite reach, will it? If only it was on the other side.
Stop it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Right.
You can just see him thinking.
You know,
we started from that side.
He was just like, how do I do this with?
Oh,
that is so
that was good.
funny. Right.
Anyway, carry on.
Where were we?
You were saying about you taking the road route, how they didn't approve, didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you were going with it, but
yeah. So, and I think I want to say when I first made my decision, they didn't approve and they didn't really understand it. But I think
I'd like to say I was very supportive.
He was very supportive. I think the tides turned. Is that the saying? Is that the saying?
The tides
turned this summer when we went to Bulgaria to see our family, and they realised that we are actually Beanox.
Yeah. I think
not in their own words.
I think the view that a lot of them had in their mind was like, you could go to university, get an education, and become an esteemed member of society. And you can work in an office and like in a nice environment amongst smart and talented people. Yeah. And I think the view that they had of what you were doing is like, oh, she's just going to go into a kitchen and wash pots.
Yes. Because again, there isn't anything like this in Bulgaria.
There isn't.
Brunch culture is not a thing yet. Good coffee is not a thing yet.
No.
It's like when you say a cafe, they're seeing in their head a dirty, greasy spoon is what they're seeing.
Yeah.
The equivalent of.
Exactly. If that.
If that. It's like more like a cafe there is like you get a coffee from a vending machine.
Not a single person aspires to work in a cafe.
A barista is not, I'm sure, a job you ever see.
No.
Like, that's not a job that exists.
And if it is, it's like you press buttons.
Yeah.
Something. Unless it's like some very, very niche coffee shop.
Yeah. So
from my impression, at least.
Yes.
I've not been to Bulgaria a huge amount, but when we went in the summer, like we couldn't find a lot
decent
that was
coffee
similar to this.
Yeah. And I think this summer when we went back and when we I think visual evidence almost of what we were doing, that's when they were like, not like we get what you're doing now, but like, this is actually quite cool and like this is a bit of an achievement.
And one of them even said like, I wouldn't even know where to begin with something like this.
Which was like, I mean, I know, I wouldn't say I'm one to like sit and like wait for someone to give me some approval. But like, it was quite nice to hear because it was kind of like, okay, I feel like you guys get why I made that choice now. I feel like you guys now understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and why it's a bit different and all of that. So yeah, that's my take on the family thing. I don't know whether you want to add. I feel like this is an episode of my podcast featuring my guest Evo, who's not speaking much.
And Rowan trying to plug the thing into his
and someone getting hauled off in a police van.
What would I add to that? I don't know. I feel like we developed that narrative together.
You fed it to me and I just ran with it.
Yeah, I would say that about family. I do think they now understand. And I do think it's also made a difference with like me coming into the business.
Yes.
So they're like,
because you were always the legit one. You were always the one that went to uni and did, and you were the smart one. Even though I feel like you were always seen as the smart one at school. I got the exact same grades as you. Literally, I got better grades than you.
What, A level?
No, at GCSE. But A level, I got the exact same grades as you.
What did you get?
A star and 2 A's. Smart lads.
I got A star.
I think I got A star and too.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
And they were all like, "Oh, she's dumb." No, they weren't.
What did you do at A level?
Spanish, French, and business. It's probably because you did maths, further maths, and physics or something.
Mickey Mouse subjects, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, definitely when you came into the business, it was like, okay, the legit one is also wants a part of this. Yeah. So he's obviously onto something.
I think it was also like I was very diligent as a child, and I was always very good at like saving money and being sensible.
Yes.
Whereas you were like, let's buy a new lipstick.
I feel like the money thing comes into every episode. People are gonna, it came into the last one as well. People are gonna think I'm like some psycho who like has got 5 loan sharks after. I'm not.
Well, you only got 3.
No, I do not. I live well within my means.
But I feel like that's a big thing.
Yes.
In our childhood.
You were always the like
saw you as a little
slightly square one, let's be honest.
That's one way to put it. I would say
I was the like
diligent and careful.
I was the impulse person. I still am. I'm still like I've made a decision right the second we're doing it. Whereas you're like you'll think it out.
Yeah.
You'll like process this a bit more and then
I'm the smart one.
Yeah. And I'm the impulse one.
Yeah.
So okay, I think that's family like ticked off quite nicely. Mm-hmm. What about, and we don't have to go into this too much because, we want to protect our privacy a bit and all that.
Yeah.
What about personal relationships? How do you think?
Personal romantic or non-romantic? Or any?
But either. Oh, I've already talked about my friendship ones.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you want to add anything onto that, but.
Yeah.
And romantic.
Yeah, I do want to add some things onto that. I think romantic, I'm not going to talk about too much.
No.
I
feel like we should touch on it. No, more like how your romantic relationships like were different, say like uni versus now, or
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. I don't know if anything to do with like the business or this work has
do you not feel like, say, I feel like you don't, but if you did want to be in a serious committed relationship now, do you not feel like you'd have to sacrifice quite a few things because of your work or not? Do you feel like your work would come first or your relationship would come first?
I think my work would come first.
Yeah.
But I think that's always been the case for me. Even when I was at uni.
Sorry, Tom.
Even when I was at uni, it was never at the time. It wasn't, when I say work, it wasn't like my uni work. It was important at the time, but it was like figuring out what I want to do.
Yeah.
And like building that up in some way. I think that's never changed.
Yeah.
For me, but I also think that I need that side.
Yeah.
If I don't have that side, then I'm just going to be miserable, and I'm not going to be able to be in any
and resent the
relationship.
person.
Yeah. Exactly.
I also think people have a really clouded view of this. Controversial.
Do you think?
I think so, a little bit. Right. I'm going to get a bit controversial here.
By people, you mean the average person?
The average
on the street,
person,
okay?
yeah. I'm going to get a bit controversial here, and this is my opinion, and I don't think this should be everyone's opinion, and this is obviously very personal to me.
You're trying really hard not to get cancelled.
I think that people focus too much on their romantic relationships and like not enough on their. It almost seems insane to me that your romantic relationship with someone, like, say if you've been with them for a year, would be more important to you than like your career, which is like what is going to be like the basis.
Tom's listening to this at home, like,
no, he knows this.
Yeah,
we like discussed it versus like something that's going to be the basis of like the rest of your life's career.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to sacrifice something that might not even work out? You never have a guarantee. Yes, same with career, but like at least you've tried.
And the career, it only won't work out because of your own doings.
Yeah, sometimes there might be external factors, but a lot of the time it will be because of choices you've made or haven't made.
Yeah.
Whereas with relationships, sometimes they don't work out just because two people aren't compatible. There's nothing like in your control about that. And I find it a little bit crazy that people put like a romantic relationship like so high up on a pedestal above everything else. And you could argue the same with like, why do people that, like, there's people that get into a relationship and forget about the rest of their friends. Like, these are the friends that you've had for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And now like this one person that you've been with for 6 months
is all of a sudden
is the most important thing in your life.
Yeah, agreed.
Which I find a bit crazy. It's just about, I think like, it's just about having a balanced view on like where your priorities lie. But that's also not to say like, if your work does come first, I think now especially, I think I used to be a lot worse with it a year ago, but now I'm like, when my cutoff point, which is different every day, but like if I go home, like tonight, after this, I'm going to go home, I'm going to maybe look at my phone for like 20 minutes and then I'm going to be like, right, I'm not going to look at my emails anymore. I'm not going to look at Instagram anymore. Yeah. Like I'm now at home and I'm going to spend some quality time at home. So it's not to say like you should just only ever think about work and not about any other relationship, but yeah, just a balanced view. Yeah. That's what I think.
I think you're right about that. I would agree with your, unsurprisingly, I would agree with your viewpoint. Because I think if you're, again, in my opinion, if you're putting a relationship as the number one thing in your life. Also, we're talking about this as two people who have not had a relationship longer than, how long are we talking? Like, for me, it's a year and a half.
Yeah, I think mine's a year.
About a year and a half.
Currently, year and a half till present.
If you've been in a marriage for 30 years, then this answer might be different.
Yes.
But the way that we see it in our shoes.
Yeah, I don't think this applies to like someone who's married with 4 kids and a house and a mortgage and like I don't think then you should be like, I'm going to choose my job that pays me 30k a year over my family.
And they're just about to retire.
Yeah,
they don't really
absolutely
care about
not.
the job.
No, absolutely not.
That makes sense. But in our position where we're standing, where we're young, we've got something to build.
Yeah.
I think
foundational years almost is like what I would say in your career. is what I feel like we're in currently.
I feel like I would have a better relationship if I was more focused on building my thing.
Yeah.
Rather than if I was more focused on the relationship itself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
That's how I would put it.
Yeah, nice. And what about the friends thing? You said you wanted to add on something to
that. Friends thing is interesting because I've got to a point where a lot of my close friends are now people that I work with.
Yeah.
And I still have a few friends.
Aw, Roman.
Extend that.
Love you, bro.
All right, guys. Should I go? Or?
Yeah. A lot of my close friends are now people that I work with.
Mm.
And I think it's almost a bit of an experimental thing, if you get what I mean. Because not a lot of people would give you the advice of like, don't work with, separate work and friends and family and all of that. I don't think, maybe there was a short period of time where I would have subscribed to that line of thinking, but I wouldn't say I do anymore, because at the end of the day, work is such a big part of my life that I don't want to do it with people that I just have a professional relationship with. But then it's about like striking a balance of like, where's work and where's friendships.
I think in that scenario it works as long as like both parties know where the boundaries are and both parties like you say know when is work and when is personal. Yeah. And I think as long as like I feel like as long as people are mature about it, like it's never really a issue. Like if you're gonna start being immature and like a dick about it, of course, but those kind of people are going to cause an issue anyways. I think. Yeah. Regardless.
And
of
I
whether
would
you're
say
friends
like
with them
I
or
am
not.
quite. I would say I'm quite selective about the. Or I would be quite selective about the friends that I do bring into my work. Like there's certain people that are my friends that if they said I want to come and work with you, I'd be like, no, I don't think.
I agree with that actually. Yeah, I agree, because there's certain friends that I've been like, oh, I could definitely work with you. Like I could definitely have you as part of the team. And then there's certain friends that I'm like, nah, we would not be friends within like 2 weeks of that. Yeah.
So that's
a good point.
That's what I would add on to it.
Yeah. Great point from you. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
How long have we been going for? 40 minutes? No way. Half of that was us pissing ourselves. Because
it's been a great episode. Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Thank you.
What about, do we want to answer any questions?
Oh, yeah. Let's answer some questions.
Okay, I've got 3 questions. I'll pick one.
Okay. You do a couple. Okay. I quite like answering questions.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. What characteristic do you most admire in others?
Ooh. In others generally? Just in like a person?
Well, if we're relating it to relationships and work, I would say the characteristic that you admire most, maybe with people that you work with, and also maybe people in relationship-wise.
Okay. I feel like, for me, I admire honesty.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
I think honesty is a big one for me.
Yeah.
And I think this applies to both like personal and work.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I just think I'm so good at reading when people are lying now. And I fucking hate when people lie to me.
Yeah.
Like it's just so obvious. So I feel like people that are honest, people that can be honest about like and own mistakes they've made, I'm here for that. Love that. Like I never get annoyed
I don't
about
care what
someone.
you've done.
Don't care. Like unless you've like murdered someone in my family. But if you can like be honest about a mistake you've made, I actually don't really care what the mistake is.
Yeah. Even if it's a big one.
Yeah. So honesty, I would say, and I admire people that work hard. Like I admire people that are like
You've
grafters.
literally just like stolen my answers.
I don't like. An ick for me is lazy people.
Yeah.
Like people that could just sit at home all day and like game or like watch TV for like days on end. I don't think I could be. I don't have anyone who's like that as a friend, and I don't.
Or just watch Better Call Saul and repeat every day.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. Yeah, that would be like something I don't admire. To not answer your question. To answer a question I was never asked. What about yours?
I was literally, the first thing that came to my mind was honesty, because everything I do in every relationship I have in my life is based on trust.
Yes.
And I'd quite happily give a level of trust up front.
Yeah.
So I almost trust like almost anyone that walks into my life to an extent. But then as soon as even like a small thing where I'm like, now you've broken
it can
that
be
trust.
the smallest thing.
It can be the smallest thing.
But it just shows you someone's character.
Bullshit. Yeah.
I agree.
And that I know where I'm like, I know that's bullshit. I know that you think you've got away with it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed.
And now you're never going to get away with anything.
Again.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Honesty, number one. Then the second thing, which is quite similar to yours again, is discipline. And I'd say I myself am not the most disciplined
I agree.
person. But I do.
I admire it in other people. I do definitely. I wish I was more disciplined.
Yeah.
Like there are some people around me and like some people who work with us that I'm like, you're insanely disciplined. And I really admire that in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's almost the answer to everything that you want to achieve in life. It's like, how do I get a better paid job? How do I save more money?
Yeah.
How do I lose weight? How do I do more exercise? The answer to like
a lot of like
90%
of it is discipline.
Yeah,
nice. Great answer.
And then I'll give one more. I'll give the third answer.
Bonus point.
A bonus answer. I think in people that I admire is like people that have gone through something really difficult and come out of the other side of that, whether that be like some kind of trauma or some kind of big challenge or anything like that.
I agree with that. You know, sometimes when you meet someone and they like tell you something they've been through and you're just like, I would not be functioning if I were you. So like, bravo, you've nailed that.
Props.
How? Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Third bonus answer.
One more
Next
question.
Okay. What is the most important lesson that you've learned in the past year?
Oh, that's a big one. Eva, you go first. I don't know.
Nothing immediately came to mind.
No,
the most important
neither.
lesson. Just work really hard.
Do you know, actually, I'm going to give a bit of a rogue one. I've got one.
I've thought of one as well. Don't steal mine.
This is going to be a bit rogue because I feel like we've sat here and been like, oh, work. We love work. Work is our passion in our life. I think the most important lesson I've learned in the last year is to have fun. Like, I feel like for the first year of owning Fika, I don't think I had any fun outside of work. Like, I don't think I did anything outside of work. I feel like we just worked.
I don't think we were in a position to as well.
Exactly. And this, like I was just saying, like this summer I've had so much fun and I've loved it. And I'm now like, okay, I feel like I'm now in a really good headspace of like, I really want to work now. But then like next summer, I know I want to have a really fun summer again. Yeah. And I want to have like pockets of fun. Yeah. 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 That would be mine.
I think it's a difficult question because any answer that I give to this question is almost like a bit generic and a bit cliche. Yeah. But I want to explain my answer. I would say the biggest lesson I've learned is nothing lasts forever. And I mean that in a negative and a positive way. And I think back to a time, maybe 6 months before this day, where we were working really hard. We were working probably 6-7 days a week. Yeah. The both of us. It was very, very difficult to find staff. It was very difficult to like even keep the cafes open because of like COVID and lockdowns and like all of that. Like it was just very
It was
very
just every day
period.
Felt like a slog. Yeah. Because it was just like it was like hurdle after hurdle every day.
It was death by 1,000 cuts.
Literally.
And I think we reached 974.
Yeah.
We're probably not many cuts away from being like, don't know.
Yeah.
I could, but I think there was a time, again, this is going to sound very cliche, where I was so close to quitting, but I didn't. No, there was a time when I was like, I don't know whether I want this. But sitting here today, because at that time I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you'd have told me in that moment that 6 months from now I'd be like focused a lot more on my health, had taken a lot more time off, having a lot more fun, like just had a great summer, like
have a third cafe
not doing
in the
crazy
pipeline.
hours anymore, have a third cafe. I'd be like, there's no way that's true. But that's why I say like nothing lasts. Like even if you're going through like
the good and
shittest
bad
time of all, like one day it will come to an end.
I agree with that. I like that point. I feel like that ties in slightly with mine as well. Because again, like if you go your whole life without having any fun because like you have to work on your career and you have to work on yourself, nothing lasts forever. Like it could all just come crumbling down tomorrow. And then you could be like, oh, well, what did I sacrifice everything for? Yeah. Like you gotta have some balance, have some fun, enjoy the process. I agree with that. Yeah. Great point from you. Good point to end on.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for listening in.
Thank you. Bye everyone.
See you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Bye.